Why your managers aren't improving sales. Have you ever wondered why your managers aren't going through and improving your sales? Have you ever thought, oh, we have a training program, but does anybody really use it? And more importantly, have you ever wondered, how do I get great sales across all my stores and not just a few? Well, I want you to watch this video because that's what the answers are from the Retail Doc. I'm going to share with you why your managers aren't improving sales, why it's tasks over sales that's really going on, and more importantly, why a framework is the most important thing you need to actually develop your retail sales. Now let's get to it. You might be wondering, why don't I have the same customer experience between my locations? Why we have a training program and people go through it, but it doesn't seem like they're using it on the floor. And the blunt answer is your employees are not being held accountable. Your managers were never taught how to deliver. They were probably your best salesperson. You promoted them and you said, hey, now you're the manager, and now you've given them all these duties. And you know what's really hard is managing people. So what do? We manage tasks. And it's so much easier nowadays, isn't it? Because the phone will tell you, display on aisle 6 is low on sweatshirts, or, oh, out of stock in hardware or something. And it's easy to have their window get smaller and smaller. And the problem with that is your managers don't spend any time on the sales floor. They're in the back. They're doing reports. They're talking to other people. They're doing anything but being on that sales floor because A, maybe they're not comfortable with it. B, they're not rewarded for it. And C, those darn employees aren't doing it anyway. So what are we going to do? And that's a real problem because the only one that's being held accountable is your manager to things that are done, not converting sales. And the other problem you've got with that is, so we have a training program. Well, yay you. Already, you're probably one of only 10% of retail businesses in the world that have a framework that they're teaching, right? So, yay, you. The problem is your mindset, or your manager's mindset is, well, we did that, done, move on. We taught them how to greet people. We taught them how to talk about our specials and our credit card and our loyalty program. Yeah, well, why aren't they doing it? I don't know, those darn employees. Yeah, because training is something you did. It was something in the past. And I'm just telling you, training has to be something that is integral to your store if you're looking to grow your sales. Because if you have multiple stores, the biggest problem you have is your managers, if they aren't going through and following a system, it's the wild, wild west. So yeah, your flagship might be amazing because your offices are in the flagship store and they know, oh my gosh, the boss is going to come through here or the cameras are going to show it, right? But in some of your other locations, they don't have that. And because your managers haven't been trained, they go through and they do tasks. So here's what you need to do. If you're looking to grow your sales and more importantly have better customer experience and consistency, you need one framework that you're going to use. Obviously, I think you should use SalesRX, my online retail sales training program. You should have me come out and do a kickoff. Obviously, that's the answer. But we're going to continue just in case you think there's something else to go with, right? So if you're going to choose someone else, make sure that that framework you're teaching isn't an acronym. Oh, we're use the magic process. We make everyone's day. We always be helpful. We gain their... Ugh. That's not how you start training. You start training with, what does success look like? And that's my other point I want to be very clear here. How many of your managers know what success looks like? What's your definition of success? Well, they hit goal. Yeah, that's a version of success. But you and I both know that hitting goal has to have people who are satisfied. So what does it look like when someone walks in your store? Do you care about how they're greeted? Do you care about the path they take? Do you care about how your fitting rooms are used? Do you care about what the last thing they should be hearing at the customer checkout counter or at your table or whatever it's going to be? Have you really thought about that? Well, Bob, you're really over-exaggerating. Am I? Because I can tell you that my customers with SalesRX report 83% report a double-digit increase in 6 months. Barker's, 100 store chain in Australia and New Zealand, reported a 23% increase in conversion rate. Do you know how much money that made them? Their second highest year. They've only been with me 1 year. Second highest in their entire history. Why is it? Because not only do they have the framework, they hold their manager accountable. And their regionals are asking, so what did you do to go through and deepen their understanding of a lesson? See, here's the thing. If nobody's looking, if no one's holding them accountable, it has to be a reason. And that reason usually is they don't have a framework to hang it on, and more importantly, your associates don't. Because what it should look like is if you have that framework and you do that constant coaching, then there's no way that the laggards are able to feel comfortable there because the manager gets tired of going over and over things, right? But you have to develop your managers. And so my quick idea is you have that framework and then you teach the managers how do you coach and how do you be a mentor. That's about being with everybody 5 minutes every day. Wait a minute, Bob, we've got all these reports to do. Like, that's the last thing you want them to do. In fact, if I had my way, there'd be no chair in the back room. There'd be like a little bed of nails. If you go back there, you're going to be standing there. You don't want to be in it, right? Because the other thing we're not really thinking about is their phone is going to be there. Do you know it takes the average person 20 minutes to get their frame of mind back after one interruption? How many hundreds of notifications are coming through your apps right now telling the manager they need to do this? Someone wants a schedule change. We have a new director from corporate. You have a message, you have a Zoom call, right? All of those are going on, and yet you expect that person to be Aladdin. Just go into work and make that sales goal. And I'm telling you, until you get serious about a framework for your associates, coaching for your managers to take them from being best salesperson to being a mentor and a coach. And until you hold everybody responsible, that means what are you doing to develop our people, then you're probably going to continue to have high turnover. You're going to continue to have low average sale, and more importantly, you're going to continue to say, it's the economy's fault, it's Amazon, it's somebody else. Look, retail's punishing right now. No two ways about it. And if you're a brand out there, I think that when you're hiring young people, you have to have the responsibility to say, our job is to normalize these young people to be able to work in a modern society. What does that mean? After COVID particularly, everybody's attention went to the phone, young people were stuck in their rooms. That's why they've lost the ability to talk to each other. They've lost their voice. And I've talked about this in other videos, which you've seen, which you should also subscribe to my channel, about we have to give people voice lessons. You have to be willing to say, yeah, they don't know how to talk to a customer, so of course they're hanging out behind the counter and they're fidgeting with their clothes, or they're looking down, or they're doing anything other than talking to your crew, or they're going to be hanging behind the counter and talking to each other because that's comfortable. Why aren't they greeting? Why aren't they using your training program if you do have one? Is because they're not confident. That's what training builds. Training builds the ability for us to say, oh, I'm comfortable wherever I go, right? The military drills people over and over again. This is what you do, this is what you say, this is what you do. Because a muscle memory takes over. When you don't train it, our usual habits when we're alone take over, which is, I'm bored. What am I going to do? Really bored? It's been at least 2 seconds. Wonder what that cat video is doing today. It's hard. But you have to accept that your role is to normalize people and say, this is how we talk to people in society. 53% of young men are depressed, and 20-some% are still living at home at their 30s because they aren't comfortable and confident interacting in the world. So for all our sakes, you need to be able to give them those voice lessons to talk to a stranger, because the other side of this is your customers, 80% are still going into a brick and mortar store. 80%. That doesn't sound right, Bob. What with AI? That's how they talk. It's 80%. So wouldn't you be working on that 80%? People are walking in, they're curious. Retail answers one question, which is, what's new? Answer that by your displays. Wonderful. Your new clothing, wonderful. And in another video, I'm going to tell you about the actual buyer journey that we take when we're in a store. So look for that video as well. And by the way, I have an offer for you as well that you should go through and check. And it's down below. You'll be able to see it and find out more about me. If you don't know, the retail doctor, I've been doing this for over 30 years. And people think there is some kind of a magic behind retail. There really isn't. It is about having a framework and being able to duplicate it. And the only way that really is effective is with managers who are charged more with developing your crew than with going through and trying to do more tasks and reports and things like that. Because the stakes have never been greater, right? There are more places to buy more things that you're already selling on your sales floor. And the difference is someone comes into your store to discover what's new for me today. And if you can help me get that, it all goes easier. Check out my other videos down below. In the meantime, just think about, when's the last time I held somebody accountable? When's the last time I was curious about why customers are walking out the door empty-handed, and instead of berating the manager, why aren't you doing this, realize I didn't give them the tools to succeed. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc.